On this episode of AV Week, Barco has a brand new video wall, AVIXA has a brand new membership structure, and the World Championship of Projection Mapping. All that and more next on AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 322, recorded Friday, October 27th, 2017, the World Cup of AV.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Crestron.
This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audio-visual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to talk about that very thing, the news and information of the week. First and foremost, my buddy and pal and chief global something at Varex. What is your official title, Mr. Shin?
I am Director of Global Managed Services, but I like Chief. Chief is better.
Chief works. Chief had something with global services, so that'll work. Also with us, his buddy and pal and nemesis, I believe. His name is Patrick Lipke. He works for IMS. How are you, sir?
Great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. If you're watching the video, he's sporting a very nice milestone shirt there. So, you know, our friends up in Minnesota should be happy. So, all right.
We can't all dress with actual style.
Well, this is true. This is true. Mr. Shin's wearing a jacket and I'm wearing some purple thing. So, not quite a moo-moo because I'm not that quite big anymore, but hey, you know. All right, let's kick this off. This week was a very interesting week in the world of, let's just say, technology-wise for AV. Barco came out and they're with a brand new video wall platform. They're calling it Unicy. And a number of folks were in New York that got to see it hands-on. I know there was an event in Canada on Thursday of this week or last week by the time you're listening to this. This week, as you're listening to this, is New York Digital Signage Week, so I'll actually physically get to see this product in person on Monday. I'm not going to call it transformational, but it's darn close, right? And I say I'm not going to call it transformational simply because I haven't seen it yet. I haven't put my hands on it. But everything that everybody else has seen and looked at this thing is calling it a good step forward, a great step forward when it comes to this specific platform. It's modular. It is a bezel-less video wall. It's slick as all get out. The price point seems to be right around $1,000 US for a list price. Mike, I'm going to ask you to start with this on for us. Is this a good step forward, not just for Barco, but for the industry?
Well, it's absolutely a good step forward because, first of all, it's the natural progression of what we're looking for from video wall technology. But what they're coming out with is the ability to have a mounting system that is easily adjustable, that almost fixes itself to make that bezel-less, display come together so it looks like it's one complete piece of glass when you step back. Plus the way that they're doing the processing is revolutionary. I'm not going to call it game-changing because I hate that phrase, and you know that.
Game changer. Don't steal my thunder. It's definitely game-changing.
Nah.
Absolutely.
Hate that phrase. So come up with something better.
It's the silver bullet.
Well, then.
It's the what,
Hey,
Patrick?
look.
It's the silver bullet, you know?
Oh, okay.
It one shot kills it all.
Yeah, I wasn't about to compare Barco to Coors Light, but along those lines, it is definitely something that needs to be considered, and it is the natural evolution of where video wall technology is going, and I'm really impressed with what they've presented so far.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and Patrick, I'm going to get your thoughts on this too, but real quick, Mike, does this put Barco in a premier position, and if so, how long before somebody catches up with them?
Well, first and foremost, I would consider Barco a premier provider in the first place.
Yes, in general, but this specific product, yeah.
Yeah, so entering into the LCD world, the LED LCD world, this definitely puts them as a top contender to some of their competition. And I would say that everybody's actually going to be looking very closely at the way that this technology has been developed, and now it's a game of catch up to chase after the Barco solution. Which congratulations to Barco for being the leader in being able to present this.
Patrick, what makes this? You said game changer, so I'm going to throw it back to you. What makes this game changing?
So I was actually in New York on Tuesday, and I saw this firsthand. First, the mounting solution is slick. It takes a lot of the guesswork out. It's extremely adjustable, installer friendly. It takes a lot less time to coordinate. It's really, really slick. The whole way it adjusts itself, it's really cool. Number two, they have options for power. Power could be local or power could be remote. That is huge for an installation integrator. From a coordination standpoint, it gives you options. The more options you have, the much easier it is to coordinate that. And three, it just looks really good. I mean, of course, Barco is going to make something that looks good, but not only does it look good, it's easy to install and it just works. It's unbelievable. The flexibility is there. It's really good.
One of the multitude of social media posts that I saw on when they announced this was it was two salespeople, right, from Barco mounting one of the panels. I'm not saying that salespeople cannot be technical; they absolutely can. But the post indicated that even two salespeople can install this. So the implication was, it's rather simple. Is it really that, is it that simple that, you can get a level 1 tech to do this successfully?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the mounting points are really easy. There's not a lot of measurement that goes into it. I saw it firsthand, literally two sales guys doing the demo, and I'm like, all right, if they can do it, I mean, come on, guys.
Again, we're not saying salespeople can't be technical.
No,
they can.
We know most are just.
Look at Shin.
Whoa, hang on.
What a lot of people don't realize is that Shin and I have a similar history. We both used to be tech managers, so I say that with all love, sir.
It's well, 2 out of 3 of us at least understand the operational side of things.
Wow. So. Okay. Well, just for the record, he and Patrick are the two. I still don't know what the heck I'm doing. All right. Let's move on before I get myself in more trouble. Part of AVIXA's new strategic plan was a new membership layout, and we're using the story from Installation International. They laid out their new membership strategy and their new membership levels this week. This is for the company level. For the personal level, you can still join as a member, a basic member. Actually, the basic membership is free. You can do a premium membership, which is $99, an elite membership, which you get some more stuff for $399. But I want to talk about the company levels here. And the company levels are bronze, silver, and gold, and they range from $500 up to $4,750. Patrick, does this, as a company, not necessarily as an individual, but as a company in IMS, do these new levels make sense for you guys to join and to re-up as a member of AVIXA?
So I actually had that thought when I saw this come out the other day, and I did some research to figure out what level we wanted to be at. Does it make sense? And just get my head around what they're trying to do. And coming into January 1, we're going to go in as bronze members, $500. But I mean, it doesn't really get you much. And to be honest, they're still trying to figure out what they're going to be offering as their full offering. Because I called them to get some answers as far as content and what's going to be included, and they're still trying to work out some of that stuff behind the scenes. But essentially, for silver, you could get 15 elite seats. So that's 15 people can access all of the online content for free. Whereas the bronze, you get 5 elite. So I'm looking at it from a company standpoint of who in my company do we want to get this training to get RUs, all that training. So I'm going to try to sell internally our company to get the silver status, get 15 people, have them give them access to all the training, and go from there. That's kind of the push. I don't think the gold for close to $5,000 is worth it to us. But we're a 95 person company. So the gold gets you 50 elite seats. So you really have to have a lot of people using that training, a lot to get that $5,000 worth, I think. So
yeah, and especially if you have a lot of folks that need these AVIXA RUs. There are several other places in the industry, obviously, to get RUs. Mike, from a whether it's you personally or from a Veric standpoint, do these levels make sense to you guys?
So we're definitely still evaluating it. This is budgetary time for us, at least, in terms of planning how we're going to spend our investment in 2018. Obviously, AVIXA is going to be, the number one go-to partner that we have. But we are evaluating it and looking at all the options. From a personal standpoint, it makes sense to me to kind of put together packages, such as 5, 15, 50. It helps to support the industry and support, AVIXA, but at the same time, it also helps to support us. And it's just a matter of finding out what our total investment level is going to be for where we want to be.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I remember a couple of years ago, more than that, 5 or 6 years ago, they adjusted their membership model. Obviously, with this new strategy and with this new name change and everything, they're adjusting things. But they stripped everything back to 500, but they also instituted some charges for education. This seems to be an adjustment on that, and instead of charging you more for education, they're giving you some seats for more RUs. So it'd be interesting to watch. So
so it's a little bit more than just buying in for the membership. Now you're getting a little bit as a kickback and a partnership, and that's what I really was excited to see, was AVIXA step up and say, you as our member, you are a partner, and we want to encourage and support any of the education that needs to happen in the industry. So here's a means to be able to make it easier on you.
Yeah. All right. This one, this story I'm actually incredibly excited about. Last couple of years, this will be our 4th year covering ISE, Integrated Systems Europe. And yes, as it gets closer, we're going to be talking about more and more about it. But this next story just excites me to no end, and mainly because it's something I think that our industry needs. And we'll just get right to it. We're using a story, from Innovate on the Net. ISE, Integrated Systems Europe, is joining forces with Amsterdam Light Festival and the RAI to stage the World Masters of Projection Mapping. Think about that for a second. So an element of our industry that is becoming more and more important, and let's be honest, one of the coolest and exceptional experiences, to use AVIXA's terminology, we're having a World Masters at, right? We're having a World Cup of projection mapping. What they're doing is they're partnering with the city of Amsterdam and with the Amsterdam Light Festival. It's something that was already in place, that Mike Blackman and the team at ISE partnered with them and said, okay, let's do this. They're doing it on the facade of the Film Museum in the harbor in Amsterdam. You click on the link to the story on our website. You can see what the building we're talking about. It's a gorgeous building. The architecture of this building is incredible. But in addition to the building, they're also putting in water features. So the projection mapping is going to be on the building and on the water. And during ISE, they're hosting tours, boat tours, that you can take out into the harbor and watch this thing. The Grandmaster World Master winner will be announced Thursday of the ISE, and the winner will be the keynote speaker on the Friday of ISE. This, to me, is freaking awesome, right? This, to me, is something that our industry needs. It is the equivalent of saying, who's the world's best painter, who's the world's best cook, who's the world's best whatever. And in our industry, we don't have that, right? We a number of years ago, and you two are probably too young to remember this, but we used to have something called a projections shootout, right? Projector shootout was a great event at Infocom. You had several spaces side by side. You could walk in and out of these spaces and look at the projectors. They had the exact same content going on, and you could evaluate which projector was the best. This is even a step beyond that, right? This is something that's saying we're taking something that is an exceptional experience in our industry and saying who's the best in the world at this, and it's highlighting the technology, and it's highlighting the experience, and it's highlighting something that you guys can create. Mike, is this something that you guys, you and a team of Varex have typically gone to ISE? Is this something where you could take your clients to, like during that week, and say, look, this is what we can do?
Welcome to the World Cup of AV.
Yeah, well, it's been better.
That's exactly what this is. I've been talking about projection mapping and the entire art form behind it for quite some time. Chris, Melissa, and I talked about it on our show about 1.5 years ago. But it is phenomenal to see that we're now going to create the ability for the true artists in the industry to present their technical skill as well as their artistry, and for all the world to see. Especially choosing ISE as the venue for presenting this is very intriguing to me. So I think this is a first step to multiple different ways and different art forms that we have in the industry to be able to be presented and judged appropriately. To acknowledge where we're going forward, like, how do we move forward as an industry? So I can't wait for this. It's going to be fantastic, and I'm specifically looking forward to being able to live stream it over the internet, so that if any of you cannot attend ISE or can't make it out there, know that there is the capability to be able to watch this event and understand what technology is being used and what art form and craft is being put to use.
No, that's a good analogy, is the art form and the craft. Patrick, yes, it's an ISE. Yes, it's in Amsterdam. Yes, it's the European trade show. But is this something that you as a U.S. integrator can take to your clients and say, look, here's something that we can do, and here's something that we can create for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have 3 guys in-house on staff constantly that all they do is content, and these guys are going to eat this stuff up. I mean, part of the problem is I think it's going to be hard to actually get the whole big picture of this without being there. I mean, I think being there is going to be paramount, because just between the water and the building, I'm sure there's going to be some crazy content that they're going to come up with to do this. And I think just seeing it from a web or seeing it on pictures isn't going to do this thing justice. But I'm very jealous that you will be there and witnessing this, because I think out on the water would be just the most awesome place to see this, to be actually immersed within the content itself. So I can see this moving, into New York or somewhere in a large metro in the States, and actually, do some building mapping and go crazy in the States or somewhere. But this is a great first step for the industry, for sure.
Mike, you both actually mentioned a first step. Is there another aspect of our industry that we could take and create another, world championship of?
I desperately would love to see some kind of a similar competition, or at least acknowledgement for audio solutions. But that's a little bit different, because at least with projection mapping, you can kind of go to whatever location and then just create, what you need from an artistic standpoint to be across that facade or that really that canvas. You don't have that kind of an opportunity from an audio standpoint, at least not, to my knowledge. But I would love to see the capability to have that kind of a competition and presentation from an audio standpoint. And then, we always, Tim, as a former programmer, programming would be an ideal opportunity for us to kind of differentiate ourselves and really talk about craft, talk about art form, the whole user interface experience, and being able to take pride in what differentiates your program versus someone else's. So I think this is, it's not a first step for projection mapping, because New York City's been doing it around the holidays across the street from Rockefeller Center, and we've seen it in other areas like a Blink in Cincinnati. They just got done with their big projection mapping show, but it's a first step forward in establishing a worldwide acknowledgement of this content is the best in the industry. And I think that it's the first step forward in that regard to acknowledge the artwork and the hard work that so many people in this industry, programmers, designers, engineers, project managers, can really take pride in.
Patrick, nothing against my cohorts in magazines. God love them, and I love having them on. I appreciate the work that they do. Is the fact that this is not sponsored necessarily by a magazine, but by an organization, by a trade organization, does it add more or less credence, or is it just kind of the same, regardless of, because fine, SCN does awards almost every trade show. Multiple other ones do as well. Does this lead more credence or less, or is it the same, or how do you feel about the fact that this is done by ISE and not necessarily a trade magazine?
I think it's huge that ISE is doing it. I think it puts more pressure on the U.S. organizations now to step up the game a little bit. And I love competition. I think competitions are great. I think we need more of them in the industry, and not just articles and bring the stuff to life. Let's do it live, and let's see it firsthand. Let people form their own opinions about it rather than just someone write about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's awesome.
All right, gentlemen, that is going to do it for us. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Mr. Patrick Whipke from IMS, how do people find you?
On Twitter, at the Duke of Music, or pwhipke at imsts.com.
The Duke of Music.
That's it, baby.
Okay. I'm not going to make fun. I'm not going to make fun.
And people thought I had an ego.
It's better than some fraternity name.
And Mr. Shin, how do we get a hold of you? or Varix?
You can reach me at AXP Mike on Twitter. my fraternity name, but also Varix.com, and I'm all over the social webs and interwebs everywhere. So
yeah, that you are.
Especially
don't follow me on Twitter. At this point, I've given up on the Bears, and I'm rooting for the Blues. So
go. Hey, hang on, Tim. Go what? Bears. Much better than go Giants. Go Bears.
That it's all relative, buddy. It's all relative. Mike's a poor hapless Giants fan, which if you haven't paid attention to the NFL, they still haven't won a game as of October
no. Wait. We got
what?
one.
You got one?
We got one.
Who'd you beat? Alton High School?
It doesn't.
Wow. This is not going to turn into a sports show. If you want to, it's TD Albright, Tim David Albright. But more importantly, go by the website, AVNation.tv. AVNation.tv, you'll find this program and a host of others. I'm going to ask a favor. Check out a brand new show we have coming down. If you're listening to this on iTunes or our podcast, this will post on Monday. By Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, we'll have a brand spanking new program. We're taking the AV profession, and we're still going to do that, but also in addition to the other the tips and tricks and the advice that we're giving you there, we're also giving you once a month an interview with a business author. The very first one is my buddy Ian Altman, who wrote the book Same Side Selling. In November, we're going to have Stephen M.R. Covey Jr. Some other folks are coming down the pipeline, so check that out if you would, please. That's called the AV Profession. All that and more at AVNation.tv. Also check out our underwriter section. These are the folks that help us do what we do, including bringing you New York Digital Signage Week next week, AVEC, and as we mentioned, we'll be at ISE again in 2018. So AVNation.tv, AVNation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. This has been AV Week.